Alright, yo, what is up? A little disclaimer for this video starts. I just want you guys to know. So we were having a little bit of a connection issue with Discord. Shout out, thank you. Um, Basically, well, Juke and Vatti are in hotels for the time being, or hotel rooms. So they're on their janky setups with hotel internet, laptops, the whole nine. So you know how that's gonna go. We're gonna have a little bit of a connection issue. There'll be times where it'll go a little quiet after later in the video after either myself or Juke talks and ends a conversation. It'll just go a little quiet for a little while. We're pretty sure that's whenever Vatti is trying to talk, but sometimes he would talk and it wouldn't go through, so we'd have to like unplug and replug his mic, which is it was a little janky, but we wanted to hang out nonetheless, just kick it with the boys for a little while. So while we all had some free time and had that lined up and whatnot. So yeah, but I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you would like us to do more of these, obviously let us know in the comments. Check the description for anyone shouted out that we might have forgotten their name of. Otherwise, you'll obviously hear their names in the video and whatnot. But yeah, enjoy the ramble and never lucky, man. Okay, bye. Your volume's chilling. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I hit the record button. So
cool. Welcome to the boys. We are the boys.
Welcome to the boys.
So, Grayson. Why do you like Ziz?
Okay.
What about Ziz resonates with you?
I think like, dude, something about him preaching how you just want to like be the best you can, or like you only really like, he's basically like in the form of just like you only live life once, so like you want to be the best like form or like kind of shape of person that you can like be the best like of yourself, if that makes sense. Poor wording, but that basically
Yeah.
like gets the idea across. But like, yeah, basically like him preaching that and just making sure that like you're doing okay, you're gonna make it, don't stress too much, like it's all gonna be cool in the end, just shit like that. That's basically why I like his. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not sure where the. I mean, I wouldn't say recent popularity because I mean, since his death, it's been a big thing. But I found out about him like 2 days after he died in like 2000 and whatever it was, like 2010 or something.
Oh really? I
Yeah,
gotcha.
and this was like pre my weight loss and everything, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like him as an individual was super inspirational for my transformation and journey, but that was like 10 years ago. So it's really funny seeing like a generation of other guys like coming through now and it being a bit more revived and timeless. So yeah, because a lot of the culture around like the music and the attitude and I guess the aesthetic of it is yeah, it's interesting to see kind of coming through as well. Even more emphasized now, like because back in the day it was like cool, it's just fitness and whatever, but now it's like much more of a bigger thing around like well-being and like we're all gonna make it. That was you know that was more of a like yeah, we're all gonna make your fitness goals, but now it's literally like you're all gonna make it through life because it's pretty shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like even with all this like bullshit that's going on, like it'll all be okay in the end,
Yeah,
dude.
man.
So we'll make it. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
So yeah,
sure if it's just my pocket of the internet that like I observe, but I've definitely noticed in the last year or two a lot more of that like kind of manic euphoric art style like just becoming popular. I'm seeing it like more and more just like background audio and videos. Just I see people sharing it. And I know like his culture was kind of tied to a lot of that, and like a lot of the YouTube
sure.
videos like use his footage and stuff, and it's intermixed. I don't know if that was maybe part of it. Definitely seems to
Well,
be getting more popular.
it definitely was like it was much more trance heavy back in the day because I mean back in 2008 2010 it was much more. I know I think he died in 2012 or something, but like yeah, around then it was very much trance heavy. A lot of like drum and bass mixes around like 2010 and then into like the trancey stuff like Man on the Run and
Yeah.
Triangle and these type of
Same.
songs. Yeah, huge, just like fucking huge
Yeah.
songs that you would rave to if you know if you was this posting back then. But like the hard style, was much more of like, okay, you're working out and this is the type of stuff to pump you up. It's kind of like the hard metal things, or kind of like the hard rap songs that people would listen to do like big sets or whatever. Like that was the Ziz equivalent to those type of music. Like, but then like the other things that aren't really as explored, like the techno and those type of things as well now. So yeah, just kind of seeing it evolve, and like people like Tevez and kind of like the resurrection of that more Ziz. It is basically a Ziz style, like hard kicks and everything. Like obviously if you're a hard style head, you'd be into that still, but kind of that emphasizing that with Ziz as the moniker to it's really interesting to see. So yeah,
I know
like,
we were even talking before we threw the recorder on, you and I, just a little bit about hyperpop.
yeah,
Like even some of the stuff, like maybe like hyperpop adjacent, maybe like some delete Zeke stuff, like what is it, like mashup core, blender core, shit like that. I feel like a lot of that it's not hardstyle exactly, but it has those like very heavy, like distorted bass lines, just like very like rapid sampling, like very high RPMs or APM, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I feel like it's that's become quite popular too. I feel like that might be funneling like more and more people into like that area of SoundCloud, because I'm seeing a ton of views on just random hardstyle remixes of like pop songs, like to the extent that I was not seeing that 5 years ago at all.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is a fucking music podcast. What are we talking about?
It's there's definitely been a lot of remixes of really old, like 2000s pop songs that have come out that are like somehow turned into trance, but more so like hardstyle ones, like just like Ziz remixes and stuff like that. Like there was one that was like Wildest Dreams by Taylor Swift that I think I linked Vatti and like some others a while ago, and it was like actually just fucking insane. So for like a hardstyle song, so there's like a lot of random songs that pop up like every now and then for remixes and stuff like that. So
yeah, I'm for it.
yeah.
What's keeping you playing right now?
I'll let Juke go. I'll think about that for a second.
How am I supposed to answer this?
I don't.
You want me to
Bro, like.
I feel like that's a different topic.
Bro, I mean.
What's stopping you from playing right now?
I assume that's for me. Not
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I'll just go a little bit broad with it, because I feel like there's a lot that goes into it. So I don't know, for like at least a year now, I haven't really enjoyed or even put many hours into like anything that I like grinding on my own. It's been just exclusively team content with the boys. Like in the fall, that was a decent bit of CM. I like wrapped up chambers doing CM, like mostly trios and like some just like casual fives and shit. That was a lot of fun, just like with the boys in Discord. And then I guess like into the winter, X came out. We were kind of excited for that. We hoped it would be fun. I didn't hate it as much as a lot of people. I don't necessarily think it's like the worst thing ever, but it's just not fun. It's not, or it's like I'm at the point in my life where it's not fun enough for me to spend 300 hours there. Like I'm too distracted. I don't know. Maybe I don't just want to like be like the burnt guy who says like, oh, it's no longer worth the hours, but just I don't think that like the enjoyment I was getting out of it, like even doing it with like my friends, like being in voice, it wasn't quite the same. Like there was not enough random stuff happens. Like it's not funny. So I don't know. I guess I've just kind of been. I do it when I'm bored. Like I feel like the game is for me now. Just it's something I do if I'm bored, and if I'm bored, I want to be like immediately engaged. And there's just not a lot of stuff that I feel that engagement with. It's really just like exclusively TOB these days, like doing like fours mostly, like with people who know what they're doing. That's what I love. That's like one of the few things I still genuinely really enjoy. And then I'm just waiting to see. Maybe TOA will be cool. I assume we'll probably talk about this more later, so I won't go into it much. But I think TOA is just going to be the deciding point if there's like any future for me playing this game or not. So I guess I'll pass it over to you, Grayson.
Yeah. I think that what keeps me playing, or like keeps me from, I guess, not playing the game anymore, is probably just like totally rooted in like the social aspect of like having like a clan to call home, a bunch of friends, like other peers, like I guess seeing other people's achievements and like still wanting to like, get drops and do this boss, do that grind, like go for this goal, go for that goal. I think I know that there's a lot of, I guess I wouldn't say a lot, but there's a handful of, you know, like main in the high level community anyway, like mains, irons, hardcores, UIMs. There's always some people who kind of stick to themselves. They don't have like an RS Twitter, or like they might not be on Discord, or they might not like officially be in a clan, but they're like really high up there on the leaderboards, and but they might only stick to like a couple friends in game or like talk to them. I don't really know like what exactly they do, but just not having like a bunch of other social outlets and like a clan and like other peers to like keep themselves around. Like I don't know how they do it. Like it would drive me insane. Like I don't think I would be playing this game for as long as I have been if I didn't have like you guys and a bunch of others and like Olympus and a bunch of other my friends and like recently Zaf and stuff like that. So it's definitely what's keeping me on the game anyway. Because if I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't be playing. So yeah.
Just super quick, I just wanted to say like one thing about the social aspect. Like especially we're out of the pandemic era for the most part now, but like for like a year and a half, it was I don't know, like it was just these like random people who I was like talking to in voice just playing video games because like nobody was allowed to leave their house or had anything to do.
Yeah.
Like I talked to those people more than like I talked to my family. It's I don't know, like wanting to like still be like somewhat connected to them, like just goof around with them. Like that is 100% what keeps me around.
Oh
It's
yeah,
still fun,
yeah.
right? Like want something to do like with them.
Hell yeah, for sure.
That's it's funny. There's a couple of things I'm noticing from like both your answers is that I mean, we're Rye men currently, yet we derive a lot of enjoyment from the social aspect of the game, and the game itself isn't inherently, well, for you two, isn't inherently like keeping you interested. Like currently, there's like I mean, there's like a drought in, you know, I'm engaged enough to do this, and I would do this by myself or with friends if they're around, above and beyond all the other things I could be doing with my life right now. I guess it's like like another sign of maturity of like or like where we're at in life, where you know there are more valid other things we could be doing than just, you know, degenning out on whatever whatever goal we have currently set on it, which is a weird feeling. I mean, for me, that kind of just happened becoming a dad and stuff and work. But, you know, I still play a lot considering all of these things, and you know, I'm generally like one of those more lonery people. I pop my head up time to time. And I guess what kind of keeps me playing is, I don't know, is it habit? Is it do I enjoy the game? I'm not sure. It's funny to think about, so I wanted to ask because yeah, we're all at different stages of our lives, different ages. We're at like different bottlenecks of the game, I would say. Like in terms of like iron progression and things, and what would be ahead of us if we were to grind. So yeah, it's interesting thing to think about. What do you guys think? Comment below. But yeah,
It's weird. Like I don't want to. I don't know. I was kind of touching like you were talking on like the stages of life thing. I don't want to. I feel like it's easy to be the burnt person who comes on here and gives the super cynical take that's like, oh, like this game's only fun if you have nothing else to do.
mm,
But like, I don't know. I'm very much like I'm a very introverted person. In real life, I have usually had fairly low like just socialization needs. Like with just friends, it was fine to see them like once on the weekend or something like that. But I don't know. The last like 6 months or so, I've had just a couple like people in my life who I've like tried to make a priority to invest time with them. So which has been different for me. It's been weird like thinking about other people as much as I have been, but it's been good. It's just I don't know. It's realigned my priorities kind of passively, like in a way that I don't even think I realized it at the time. So it's been good though. I don't know. It's a good thing, I think.
so like, what would the game have to become or do to kind of bring us back to, I guess, where we all were like 2.5, 3 years ago?
Mm, I don't, I don't know if it's something that the game could do. I think it's more of like an IRL situation
Mm,
personally. Because like whenever, like a couple years ago, I like personally anyway for me, like I was nearing the end of college and like I was in college, so I had like the social aspect, and then like all around me like pretty much 24/7, but I also had like if I didn't really want to do anything, I could just like go back to my dorm or like hang out with like one of my roommates and then just like play Scape or just like play with the boys and like just do shit. And I like at least for the time being, whenever I was in classes and stuff, I didn't really have to worry about like, you know, the water bill and the electricity bill and like all this like all this other shit and like work 9 to 5 and like all that shit like that. So or 11 to 8 or whatever. But I think it's, at least for me, it's pretty much like more of a IRL thing. I think the game is like, I don't know. I don't know what could really go back, because there are a lot of people who've I've kind of watched or like looked up to over time who have slowly like gone away from the game. So I guess there's like people who would need to come back to like maybe make the game like go back to that state, but I don't think that would ever happen for some of them. So there's that as well. So
This is a quite a bit different answer to that question, but I guess it's a little different for me just because like the stuff I have done the last couple years has been like almost entirely PVM. But like at the point where I was actually playing a good bit and playing consistently, like a couple years ago, was when I was still doing skilling. So I guess I was just thinking while Grayson was talking, like what would it take for me to get back into skilling, which like straight up I know is never gonna happen. But I feel like it's difficult to say. I think the thing that I noticed like at the end when my motivation completely died for it was it became like harder and harder to get to like what is that, like the flow state, the like active meditation thing. Like my brain no longer was able to like kind of like zone out and just enjoy relaxing
oh
doing
yeah, like
something
enter
like
the
that.
zone.
I started just I was distracted. I was kind of like agitated. I found it hard to focus, which is almost unrelated to the game itself. It's not like something actually changed in game. It just, I don't know, it was no longer relaxing. And then I just stopped, and then I don't know, I had enough friends who wanted to PVM, so I started doing that. It's a different story though.
Yeah.
What would Tombs of a Massacre have to be to us be all kind of like reinvigorated with the game and be a bit more enthusiastic about it?
I think it would have to be something that's strategically deep enough that it's not figured out in a week or less, even like compared to recent content. I think it would have to be something where there's just like constant experimentation going on for a while. I think that's what it would take for me to get really interested in it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with the same. I think that like, at least during, I think like during TOB release, it was honestly one of the funnest like times just to watch people on YouTube and Twitch and like in game or like on Discord and just see your friends like try and like complete a TOB run with like the worst gear you could possibly take nowadays. And yeah, I don't know, like just that kind of aspect. Also what is it? Having the Inferno not being solved for, or I guess not being solved, but not being beaten for like, I think it was 3 days or 4 days or something. I can't remember how long exactly it took Wooks to be the first person, or someone to actually get like the first completion. But something that just isn't like solved immediately in like a couple hours, or like everything is like completely like dialed in and figured out on like the very first day or something like that would be pretty cool.
Then also just to be super greedy for a second. This is I won't say this is like best for the game or best for the update itself, but like at least for like the people who I play with, I think the items would have to not be over 200 hours mostly. I think I don't know, maybe people I know are just too burnt, but I think like looking at how Nex and Nightmare were received, even though those are like more niche upgrades I guess than TOA is going to be, but still.
Dude, but Nex,
I don't know.
man.
I think not making it just an absurd slog,
Yeah.
like with 400 hours to finish. I think that would be a welcome change of pace at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
You can balance it with difficulty, right? Like you can give it like high difficulty to pair with low hours if done optimally. I think that's a healthy balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like there's a lack of novelty. There's like two things from what you guys are saying. There's like a lack of novelty with the content that's currently in the game at the moment. I think TOB's been like since the original release of it, been like the only like properly original piece of content that's come out. Like even Nightmare's like an RS3 copy to some extent. But I'm trying to do Sepulchre while doing a podcast. It's not working very well, so I'm just gonna pause. So yeah, no, it's fine. But like, there's like a lack of sense of novelty or wonder in the game, and I think that also comes to how good the player base is now. There was a similar situation that happened in World of Warcraft where, over time, the player base gets better and better because the ceiling for the skill you needed to have to do the end content, and kind of just at the time kind of sat there with the content, just made you kind of push the boundaries of it, right? So with Todd being out for so long, people have been pushing it to the limit of where it can realistically go, and with that comes an approach, a mindset to solving content rather than kind of approaching it in a different way, which might be a bit more brute force, or a way in which you had a different set of tools back in the day, really. Clients don't help with this, but at the same time, we are just better players, really. And I guess with TOA, you want to hope that the incarnations, or the way it's structured, I think it's only like 4 bosses, isn't it, or something, but like the way that it's actually like presented to you provides a challenge in which you could really just limit test exactly what you're capable of within this DDR simulator, because otherwise I think, and this is kind of where my mind is at the moment, if TOA flops, it's like I think the game's over. I really do, like, because you've got
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, and until at least a Raids 4 comes out, right? But I'm just thinking in terms of rewards, right? You've got T-Bow, Scythe, and you've got whatever this staff is. Those are like that's like the big 5 tick each combat style done.
Yeah.
That's like the big reward for it. And then if you think of like in terms of like item progression point of view, you get those free, and then you use them for whatever the other piece of content that's within there, right? But like, where do you even go for an incentive to like what would you have to even release for the next piece of content after TOA for it to be even like above and beyond that, right? Because like the gaps in terms of having something outside styles is kind of like closing, right? Because they're just like 2 powerful items in and of themselves. Like you can like maybe like combine them all into like one big giant like 6 tick, I don't know, nuke or something. But like, do you know what I mean?
I do. I think if they try to start one-upping themselves in the future, like putting things like range weapon above T-Bow, or like melee weapon above Scythe, I think the direction they'd have to go with it is make it fast, so it's harder to use well. Even like give it variable attack speed, so maybe it's like multiple like 1 or 2 tick hits, then like a 3 tick or something like that. That just something that'd be very hard to use optimally, because I think Scythe and T-Bow are both way too easy to use. Like on top of being as good as they are, they don't require anything from the user. I think I missed that about old Blip Up. I think that was like the one thing I really liked about it, was how hard it was to use it optimally. Whereas there's just, I don't think that's the case with like a lot of the current best in slot.
Yeah, ultimately what I think it would come down to is if it's like, I think even regardless if it's successful or a failure, like TOA is probably like the last realistic like PVM thing that can like be released for a very long time. It's got to last, but there's also just kind of like, that's it. I think, like, what else could you do after that? Especially given the gap between Tob and TOA, and like the dimes that you're filling out. Like, that's pretty much the game for the next 3 years. And beyond completing TOA because I could solo it and it fits within my time schedule, I don't think there's anything else I could really want to go for. Like, I've done Fasani's, like, luckily, but I've got Nex and Corp in front of me if I wanted to really flesh it out. And what else could I be doing with my time? I don't know, playing with my daughter and helping her do her homework or something by that point. Do you know what I mean? Like, it gets to that point where you either go clog or you go home, and you kind of put down the game and pick up something else. So yeah, that's something I've been thinking about, because you just got both for Grayson. So like you could really go to kind of like broke through to the next stage of like that progression. Like how does it feel kind of like breaking through that like item block barrier, but then finding like an extra giant chasm of like things that you need to do beyond that? Like, how does it feel from that point of view?
Dude, it honestly, it feels good. Like, it feels fucking nice to finally like be able to do what I want, but like at the same time I'm kind of, I think I was talking to Flashcards or Guardy or someone a couple days ago about it, and I was talking to them and I'm like, yeah, I'm starting like solo chambers now that I have Bofa, and that was like the last thing I really needed, and it's going pretty well. And I got like my first like sub 30-minute like solo that like I like had a deathless on, like I didn't suicide at all or anything like that. So I'm making like decent progress, but I'm like, man, if only I had like ancestral top bottom and like claws, then if I got like those three, I would just go back to Tob for my scythe. But like I would just like stay at Tob, and I would want to do hard mode if I got scythe. But then again, I want to do chambers and get more items. But if I want more items, this is like how my mind is going. It's like, well, if I want to do CMs for chambers and get more items, then I could go do Inquisitor. And I'm like, well, I need to go do Fazani now. But it's like, dude, it's this fucking cycle that like never ends in my head of like, I could do this, I could do that, I could do this. And it's like, bro, holy shit. So it's like, there's like, yeah, like you're saying, like the endless chasm of like shit I can be doing. And then on top of that, I still have like, like my Zook helm and everything else I want to fucking do. So yeah, it's like there's so much shit. And then Raids 3 is coming out on top of all the items that I already want to get. So I'm just like, I'll just go fuck myself, man. Like, yeah.
I'm ready for your Grandmaster arc, Grayson.
Dude, I'm gonna need some help on the team shit, I'm not gonna lie. I'll keep it a brick with you, dog. Some of those speed times are ridiculous. And like some of the Inferno shit, I'm gonna need some coaching. Holy shit. But
Yeah.
Ticket.
yeah.
It's funny though, because you're basically playing a different game than me and Juke, because you don't have a bow.
Yeah.
Like you don't have the actual
Sheesh.
one. Like
Well,
it's but like it's
Yeah,
but
put
like,
him in his place.
no, but
Right,
like
dude.
but I mean, it's not. First of all, it's not his fault because it's RNG. But second of all, it's just kind of how the
Yeah.
game's designed, right? Like
Yeah.
when you get it, like when I get a T-bow, it's like the game suddenly just like, oh, you can just slap everyone,
Yeah.
or pretty much everything, and it's just like then that mindset shift is kind of there, and everything before that point, like there's like a pre-bow account and a post-bow account, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't think, but it's funny because I don't think Scythe hits the same. Like I haven't felt the need or urge to like Tob whenever I could for a chance of a Scythe, because
Yeah.
like the kind of like the gap between a sail door or whatever I'm using and a Scythe is not there really. Like I mean Duke, you just putting you in your place, you play a game without a Scythe. Like have you felt like the difference between, or like the kind of mindset around I need a Scythe to kind of like play the game properly, or is it a bit more of a or is it a bit less severe than like pre-Debo versus Debo?
So, I guess my experience is probably a little bit different because I've been on and off speedrunning Tob on my ult. So like using the scythe on there. So I've played with it a good bit. I felt because like I think Tob is where it shines the most, right? I know it's good a lot of places, but I think Tob is like you get everything to 0 defense, right? It's just 0 defense, high HP meatbag. Scythe loves that. So like like it's good, it's strong, but I don't know, not really. It definitely doesn't feel. Yeah, it doesn't feel like Tebow does. It doesn't feel like that difference. Also, like in going back and forth between the accounts, so doing like 5-tick on the alt and then like 4-tick on the iron with blade. Like, I honestly think I almost have more fun overall on the irons. I think 4-tick's just harder to use some places. Like other than Zarpus is 5-tick is cool there, but I don't know, for everything else, like I think trying to like play optimally with 4-tick is enough of a challenge in itself. It's not just about seeing big number brain happy now. I guess I don't have that much of an itch for that.
Yeah, do you ever feel like the game's too slow at times? Like especially with the 5-tick weapons, because they have their own like different cycles. But I do much more prefer like blowpipe speed combat than my T-bow type of things, or like weaving in blowpipe hits on Zora, for example, or like those type of like tick calculations, like get kind of squeezing in those things. Kind of making the game a bit faster might be a cooler thing to think about, which is what I was looking forward to with the wand. Like 2 ticks and then 4 ticks. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like there's something to play with.
Yeah, that thing looked.
I'm probably a little bit biased. I think. Sorry, I cut you off, Grace. I'll let you go in a sec. I was just saying.
That's all good.
I'm just biased because I think Nilo is like by far the most interesting and fun thing in the game, and it's fun because it's fast, right? You're using fast weapons. It rewards every little optimization. So I 100% agree. I feel like the more slower paced stuff definitely takes away from the enjoyment. Sorry, go ahead, Grayson.
No, I was just saying that the what is it? I think the 2-tick, 5-tick, or 4-tick, whatever one is that still coming in the game, or is that replaced by like the 2-handed staff now for TOA?
I believe it's been replaced. I think it's just the 5-tick.
Okay.
Mage.
Okay, I gotcha.
No, I think that's it.
Because I really, I think there was someone who was doing, what is it? They were on like the beta world with the wand, and they were doing like mage hand, and they were I can't remember the pattern they were moving around in, but it was obviously like 225, and they were like keeping cycle with like moving Olm's head, but the way that they were moving was just absolutely fucking insane. So it looked really cool, how they were like optimizing that, but and I was kind of excited to do shit like that and like use it at other bosses and whatnot. But now it's just another like two-handed OP weapon, but for the third melee or third combat style for mage. So you know,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I kind
hope
of. Okay,
like,
I hope they play around with that a lot more. Like
yeah,
an invocation speeding up your weapons, but they do like proportionate less damage, if that makes sense.
yeah,
So you have to. So like you've got like a 2 or 3 tick, 4 tick weapon now, but it does like equivalent. It kind of divides the damage, right? So you need to be a bit more careful with getting your hits in and having that fast a bit. Like that's kind of moving away from prayer flicking being the skill ceiling to timing your weapon swings and kind of making sure that keeping your DPS up from that point of view as well. It's less like I can survive and tank everything while my 5 tick just kind of does all the work to I need to like fully consider every single hit that I'm doing along with my movement, along with the prayer flicking as well, and how you kind of like stack those things up. That would be a cool approach. I think they could take the like skill cap and difficulty with the game. That would keep me interested, I think.
yeah,
one thing I was really kind of disappointed about when they reverted the staff was, I know the staff like seemed underwhelming to a lot of people. I think it was better than they thought, but I liked that it had so much random passive shit attached to it with like all the different spellbook effects and whatnot that like it was one of those things where you know that people aren't fully going to understand its uses like before it even comes out, right? Like it's going to be one of those things where there's always going to be like small, probably very like little benefit, but like niche uses for something like that and lots of different content. Whereas I think now like the staff they've proposed is like it's good, right? People are excited for it because it's good, it's going to hit big, but I think you can understand pretty much exactly how it's going to play before it even gets into the game, right?
Mm,
Like day
yeah,
2, the people who have the money are already going to be doing like proper speedrun methods with it, right? It's not strategically deep.
yeah. I was kind of brainstorming whenever the wand came out how like even though obviously you would want to use like um Sang or Trident or whatever, and like obviously Coda for barraging and stuff like that, like at Nilo waves you were talking about. But if we had the wand, if the wand was still a thing, if it did like two tick, and then like 4 tick or 5 tick, if it had like 30% damage on the 2 tick, and then second attack for a 2 tick it had like 30%, and then the 4 tick had like a 60% damage, then you could just hit like two of the smaller little what is it, little blue like mage Nilos with like a 2 tick and then a 2 tick, and then just go for a big and like use the like 4 tick attack on like a big or like on like the mini boss at a like hard mode top whenever the Nyla like drops from the ceiling and changes to mage or some shit like that. I was thinking of shit like that, but like I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like upsetting that a weapon like that is just like not going to be in the game now for like I guess that kind of potential. Even though I don't know if it would have had like that kind of potential at top, but you probably know what I'm trying to say. So
yeah, like just playing around with different weapon speeds to increase skill
yeah,
cap rather than kind of focusing on like the survivability or those sort of things. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
but we've been focusing a lot on like the PVM side of things. It's kind of where all the hats are now. But this everyone. I think people have got like a sailing bug, and how like I think the next big thing to entice people in would be a whole revamp of kind of like how many of the skills intertwine and like kind of the opportunities and like I was saying earlier, like the novelty and potential that a skill like an exploration skill could have um could also bring people in. But yeah, after TOA, my mind has been going, it's like how long can the game last if it was just TOA and then it was just done for updates? Like that was it. You'd get people clogging, you get people kind of like pushing times and stuff, and you still get, I mean, you still get people like grinding out and doing the path or whatever, but you hit brick roads of like Nightmare, Nex, and Corp from an Iron perspective, and like that's kind of it. Like how do you even alleviate that and keep people interested from that point of view to say like 2 to 3 years time? No, I wouldn't see a game or any game really kind of surviving at that point. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't worry me because I can kind of step away at any general time. But I mean, for the game that I grew up with and continue to play well into my 30s, it's yeah, it's I want to see it continue in that sense. So
Let me ask you this, Vatti. I know you like I don't really have an MMO background at all other than this game. Right? So I know you have a little bit, at least some more than me. Like are there games that have managed to like be around for a long time and but escape that ending of just a huge group of player base who just comes back to play the new update for a month and then quits for 6 months? Because I feel like I've seen that in a lot of games. Like, has that been avoided many places?
No,
Are there other ways to do it?
no, it hasn't. I mean, like if take WoW for example, the game I'm actually more familiar with from that point of view. It peaked in like 2008, 2009 with the third expansion, and then from there, it's just been trickling down because I think what happened, and it's what happened to RuneScape as well, is that they had a big gap between the releases to where people could catch up, right? So, I mean, of course, game design and philosophy changed as well to where it had different incentives and people weren't really made to stick around for that long. It didn't really reward you for playing for a longer period of time beyond like tiny percentage of increase in gear, which gets wiped to the next expansion anyway. But like, where was I going? Yeah, people kind of caught up to the top, and then they were waiting on the next big thing release, and then because they were already there, that didn't really satiate them because they could clear it in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? So and that's kind of where we're at now with RuneScape. Everyone's topped out. Like they're all really good at top. They're all really good at chambers, and those are the two. And Inferno to an extent, if you kind of go beyond the two team raids, Nex, Corp, and Fasani's, I guess, yeah, pretty skilled, but it's soloed, and it's definitely not compared to a Cox or Tob in terms of skill, but like, you're caught up in skill points. So when TOA releases it, and like an invocation stack might be the hardest content in the game, sure, but because everyone is like at a point where they're waiting now for the new thing rather than on the progression path to like learning how to do it and kind of see it at the end of the tunnel, it's not going to last as long. So, and then people aren't going to want to stay around, especially if you're a main. I think as well, like there's only so much you can really do with the rewards because gold is pretty, not really worth much anyway now as well. Like what's actually rewards keeping you there? Like you said, it's the social. So, but then everyone else is already at the same stage. You're like, oh, what else could we do? Oh, well, I got law school, or I got a daughter, or I've got a girlfriend. I could just go hang out with them because I've done all the content now, and that's it. So this is like the variety, which is hard to do within like one confined raid. Invocations kind of go that far, but maybe not, because full stack probably will be solved, I guess. Then yeah, the player base just kind of dwindles out, and it's sad to see. And it is the job of the developer to then rectify the fact that they had a content gap to get people to that point in the first place. And you can only do so many big releases, especially with the way that RuneScape is structured, to kind of do that. TOA is probably going to be the last one in PVM for a long time. They'd have to look for skilling next or whatever to really cater to the top base. And if you don't cater to the top base, then your game dies. It is actually true. Like, people could be like, oh, I'm going to level up all the way till I get to top, and then you get to top and it's just like 416 shitters there because all the good people you could have proven yourself to and develop and like learn and kind of trialed yourself out into like a guild or a clan or whatever. They're all gone. They're all playing different games because they're done now. It's all over. So the doing a piece of content at the highest level with the high skill cap people, that ship has sailed. Juke, you do this with your fours, I guess. Like they use people at the top of their game, but they won't stay there, and they won't be around for people who like me and like just me, who are learning Tob and kind of want to get into that speedrun type of thing. I'll be playing with a whole different set of people who just won't be as good, and it'll be a different experience for me, and it probably won't be the better one. So I might just leave sooner than if there was a reason for those other people to kind of stay around and play a bit longer. Is that all making sense? Did I answer that question?
It is. Actually, I had two things I thought of. I'll respond to the last thing you said first. I think a big thing that's missing too now is that, like, even like I don't know, I'm not that like I just like talk with anyone. It's mostly the same group, but like we've had quite a few new people join in, but even their experience I don't think is really ideal because they basically show up and just get handed like the exact blueprint for the role, right? It's like, watch these VODs, memorize this, you do this every room, you do this on this tick, and then you just run it enough, and then you get to that point. But like, I don't think that is nearly as fun as learning together, right? Like, I think that just is so much more of an rewarding experience as opposed to just people who are just waiting for you to catch up to the skill level, right? And then everybody who's already at that level, like you said, is burnt, right? So they're only logging in to raid every now and then, or like when the boys are asking for it. So yeah, I think it's different. And then the other thing I was thinking about earlier in what you were saying was, I think this is a complete pipe dream, I know, just with the way the game is managed now, but Ox and Tob being released relatively close to each other, like 2 years apart, especially when like a lot of people were still just getting into Iron Man at that time, so like they weren't even doing Cox right away. Like the experience of being able to go back and forth between those two pieces of content and like the upgrades you get from each, like impacting how you play the other, and it's not the same path for everyone, right? Because people are doing the raids in different orders, they get the items in different orders. I think that is like really interesting and adds just like a lot of diversity to the game, right? Like the fact that everybody has like different raid setups, right? Because people have different Tob items, or like they're some people have like bow, or some people have Kodai for Tob that changes their setups. Like there's always like small optimizations for each player to make. But once you get to the point where everyone is fully caught up and just waiting for one piece of content, like everybody's running the same setup from day one, right? And then like sure you might get some upgrades from the content itself, but like everyone is more or less like doing it the same way from the start. I think that just I don't know, I think it really takes away from the fun of figuring things out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hard. It's a hard problem to solve for MMOs, really. Like I've seen it over and over and over again with the different games that I've played. The top player base just has no reason to keep playing. So then they find reasons not to play, or they're just given reasons not to play. Which is why I asked at the start, like, you know, what keeps you playing? Because that's a key question that Jagex is going to have to solve and give people reasons to play. Above and beyond just getting new items that they can turn into GP for what, you know, third age set, I guess, or like, you know, yeah, it's difficult. I mean, clog is, you know, a demonic dopamine black hole that might keep people around for a long bit of time. I mean, it's keeping me around, I'll be honest. Like I like clogging. Like I went for Sracnus Pet. I got it quite, you know, too early, and then I'm back at Zora from like I've done like 1.3k kills over the last like 10 days. Not healthy at all. But
Hey, let me ask you this super quick, just related to that. How do you feel about someone who like you played even like before I did?
Yeah.
Like one thing that's turned me off collection log so much was that like everything I've did in like the early stage of my account, like, even like up to max, wasn't even logged, right? So like all of the clues, like all of this random shit just not in there. Like, you've probably dealt with that more than I have. Like has that discouraged you?
no, not really, because I just skilled. Like the only thing, the only thing that's not in there is the barrows. Like all of Cox except for one Dex is in there. I've got my mutagen from Zora in there.
Damn.
I don't think there's anything big missing. There's like a Sarah Hilt's missing, but you know, I'll go back because like all of these things kind of come 0 time from going for the pets, right? And all my pets are in there because they, you know, pre-came in. So the only thing I need to redo is barrows, and that's it. So yeah, for me, I definitely understand the turmoil though, especially if you PVM'd a lot. And having to go back and do like re-get stuff is super annoying, especially like Cox items. Like if you have a T-Bow but you have it on log.
Elder
like
Maul, dude, I got Elder Maul pre-log and a Kodai. Although I got a second player, so I can't complain about that one. But yeah, like imagine being like, oh yeah, time to go do fucking 400 hours of Cox for another Elder Maul.
Yeah, but like I mean, for me it's different because I did basically start my PVM after log. So I've got everything, yeah, like I said, everything in my Cox log except for a Dex is missing. Clues is fine, like I've got over 1,000 hard clues and most of my hard clue log is missing, but I'll get that back eventually. Like that's, I mean, you know, that's all fine.
You know what I did
yeah,
see?
nothing big's missing for me, which is, I'm very fortunate, very fortunate.
He had
What's your count?
For what?
A log.
Log 694, but I'm not like seriously talking. Right, the two items are going for a jar of chemicals and Zora Pet, so like I'm slowly kind of working on like big ticket things.
Way more than me, dude. I'm like 505.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, I'm missing like all 24 of barrows, for instance. And yeah, I think that's literally it for me. Like everything else I got.
All right. Okay, we're good, dude. What the fuck? Okay.
What happened?
Dude, my internet just like it didn't go out or anything. Discord just like disconnected me, and it just like wouldn't let me connect back. I'm like, oh, okay.
I'm not even sure where we cut out, but we can just like keep it going.
Yeah.
Are we live again? Are we on the air?
We on
Oh
the
yeah,
air?
yeah, we're on the air.
Oh, cool. All right.
We're live.
Yeah. And we're back with the boys.
And we're back.
This
More
boys
of an intro than
podcast.
we did at the start.
Yeah. Shout out Discord.
Right into
Yeah.
Shout out
Everybody,
to
like,
our
most of everyone
sponsor.
are.
Sponsored Discord. Yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
man.
But yeah, just like Clogs keeping me in basically. It's just like the longer term thing. Like there's a duo Ramble with Lone Gym Rat and Not Hard where they go through the hours to take to complete Clog from an iron perspective, and it's like over 170k hours. I think.
What the fuck?
Which is like you aren't going to do it. Which is funny because back in the day when I was skilling and stuff, and I'm like going for 200 mil and all that, it was like, yeah, you play macro mindset even though you're not going to achieve it feasibly, but it's a fun way to play. And then I think literally ever since the Elite Casket patch, I've been like, oh, Clog, interesting. Like that's something I can kind of sneak my teeth into. And
If you can like pass the account down, your great grandson will finish it on his deathbed.
Oh my god.
It's like third age one, just heart stops.
Holy.
that's funny. That's really funny. Oh god, yeah, that's something I've not thought about, but it's something I consider. It's like, hey, here's how you do for Sarnies. I'm 6k and I'm missing an Eldritch, but I've got like 20 jars. Like just keep it going.
Start explaining it to your daughter, get her hooked.
Yeah, I don't know. She's
I don't know if that's a good thing.
Nah.
She's
Nah.
she's doing her own thing. There's a Kanye West song called Violent Crimes. If you know it, you know it. But like
Yo.
yeah, don't do yoga to Pilates, just to stick to karate. Yeah, don't want to get her into that type of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, yeah, it's been weird. Like, what are your like, Juke, I'm not sure if you have any goals. Like, what are your current goals really with it? Is it just like wait until TOA, or is it a bit more deeper than that?
Oh, it's not any deeper than that. Honestly, no, really not. I mean, Scythe's like the only thing, right? It's the last raise item. I need over 2k for it. It'd be cool. I'd be like really happy to get it, but yeah, I don't know. Not logging in right now. I'm enjoying it. I think I'm really just waiting to see because I don't know. I guess sorry, I'm struggling to phrase this properly. In my head, there's like two routes to go after you get it, right? You either get it and you're like, okay, this was what I wanted to do. This was it. I've finished everything I wanted to achieve. I'm done with it. I don't think that's how I'm thinking, right? Like, I don't just want to like get it and then to be done with it. But I also don't think there's anything else right now that I want to do with it other than Tob, right? Like, I'm not Slayer pet hunting. I'm not going back to chambers to speedrun. So I'm not going to be using it. So I think at this point, if in the fall, if TOA is cool and like if it has a use for Scythe or like it just looks like really fun in general, then I'd probably go for Scythe again at that point. But I think for now, yeah, just waiting and seeing, enjoying doing other shit. Got real quiet in here.
Yo.
Are you hosting, Grayson?
I mean,
No
I
dead air,
guess,
come on.
yeah. I'm just waiting. I thought there was more, but I guess not. I don't know, dude. Like, I mean, I've already kind of talked about my goals. I'm just, like, doing, solo chamber, stuff like that. Mainly, I think, at least for right now, I want, Ancestral Top Bottom Claws is, like, just the main three. Everything, like, Coda is kind of a given, because I'd really like to learn properly, like, Mage Roll at Nilo and Tob. And Tebow's also just like, Tebow, it's a given, just that I want both of those, but more realistically anyway, at least for me, I would prefer to have Ancestral Top Bottom Claws for Tob, and before Tomb of, or however the fuck you say it, TOA, Raids 3, so, yeah, I think that's the main thing that I want right now. I would like Scythe before then, don't see that happening, personally, anyway, but, I'll keep tobbing and see how it goes, but, yeah, I think that's, like, just the main thing that I want right now, is just, doing solo chambers, just doing my thing, doing Tob, trying to get a Scythe, slowly work on some Master, Grandmaster tasks, stuff like that, but,
I guess question
yeah.
for you, Grayson, like, I know you're not quite there yet, but like, of the different endgame playstyles, like what's the most appealing to you?
Playstyle is in.
Like collection log, speedrun, pet
Oh,
hunting, XP, HP, whatever.
I would say probably.
None of it.
No, no.
Sound
Some.
enthusiastic.
At least, okay. So at least being, I will say, at least being friends with you and you teaching me, Cryptic Gauntlet, you and Vatti both, and Mars, especially with you talking about a lot of speedrun stuff. I would like to get a really good speedrun, or like PB for Cryptic Gauntlet, which would be really cool. I don't ever see myself like getting like a sub 5, but like maybe like around a 5:15, like give or take like 5-10 seconds, something like that. I would love to get something around that. I think probably getting PBs and like getting a really good like solo no prep PB in chambers, like a CM PB, maybe like a duo, or even trying to get like a solo top completion or something like that would be really cool. But
Go on.
dude, I would love to. But yeah, I think I don't know. Probably just speedrunning PVM, GM stuff. Also speedrunning Inferno. That shit looks hard as fuck, I'm not gonna lie. So, dude, some of the shit that I've been watching in like Zaf live streams, man, and some of the channels where like one of the boys will just go live and they'll just be on task and they'll just like casually do like a 54 or a 53 or like a, you know, even like a 57, just any like sub 60, just like some of the shit that they do during the waves, like flicking like, you know, like a blob, a melee, a range, a mage, and like just killing the mage, and meanwhile they're like fucking 1 HP, but they still somehow manage to kill the nibblers like while flicking and like changing gear from like chins back to T-bow, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And like thralling.
You said they got a completion? Were you sure you were watching that in Zaf?
Well, okay, yeah, you know, there have been a couple completions, but you know, it is what it is. But still, like, nonetheless, still some of the shit that they do in like the 50s and 60s is still just kind of fucking mind-boggling to watch. Be like, I don't know, I just have like, I want to become a lot better of a player mechanically, and just watching, I guess, what they're doing. And dude, even watching like sometimes whenever Prowse is streaming like duo tobs, bro, I have a fucking long way to go for like my skill ceiling. Holy shit, man. Like,
Prowse is cracked. Shout out Prowse.
Yeah, Prowse, you're lit. But dude, holy fuck, my skill ceiling is just so far below like you and Prowse and like some of the other like speedrunners and like Zeroth and all of the others who are just like fucking cracked at the game. I'm just like, I just kind of watch you guys and I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? So yeah, I definitely have a lot to work on, but I feel like I'll get there eventually. It'll just take a lot of time, but yeah, I don't know. So that's.
I guess real quick question for Vatti. I don't know. Maybe you've talked about this in your rambles. I thought I've watched all of yours, but have you completely given up your XP goals? Do you have any left? You think you're doing even like passively? Ooh, is he still here?
Is he still here?
Vatti, if you're talking, we cannot hear you.
Oh god. Here, let me see.
Shit. Hello?
Oh, hello. Yeah, we can hear you. Were you
Hello? No, I wasn't. Fucking Discord's doing its thing.
Oh,
having a tough time.
Man.
Oh, did you hear what I asked?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So I can hear you guys loud and clear. Like, that's fucking weird.
Yeah. You're good.
Yeah, I have 0 skilling goals. It's very weird, isn't it? I clogged giant.
Last time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are your goals for the next 6 months? Like, no, I put like immediately as soon as I hung up the call, I'm like, I'm never skilling again.
That was the last day. That's what I burned out doing. I was making my wines from forecast. Like I was doing that during the video we recorded. It's on YouTube. That's the last day I made wines. Last day I skilled.
Exactly.
Oh
Yeah. It's just
God.
like we were talking to each other, and then like we both got off the call. And it's just like, why did we like? We're just not feeling that. I just don't know. Yeah, it's what was I gonna say? Yeah, 0. I clogged to Giant's Foundry like 2 days after it came out, so that's like the last bit of smithing XP that I've gotten. So I'm 23.5 mil base right now, and that hasn't I have no sense of need to get like 30 mil base or whatever. I understand that doing clog, doing all, just kind of getting all the resources in my bank, I'm gonna get so much passive XP from just doing that. I don't need to say 200 mil crafting is already in Arachnus for the elite clues, for example. So I don't need to do any more crafting. I don't need to do another seaweed run. I don't need to cut any more gems. I don't need to think. I don't even need to think about it because that's just kind of taken care of. Herbs, right? I'm stopping at 7k contracts. I'm never going to do another contract outside of bingo, basically. So I don't need any more seeds because all the herbs and things will just come from that. You know, these things I'm just not really worrying about. Like I'm never going to mine Daylight again because I'm going to get all the essence I need from like 2k CMs. It's that type of mentality where I've kind of checked out of. Obviously, I'm not going to achieve it because I have a different relationship with the game. But it's that type of mentality where like you don't actually at my point in the account I don't need to skill anymore to like because it would just be a waste of time basically. Like at the bank, for instance, blowing glass is a waste of time if you take that clog mindset because you know you don't need to do that to get 200 mil to cap it. I think that's an issue with like the skill cap being 200 mil is that you inherently get to a point where it's a waste of time to do that skill because you get like you see it in Higer's. If you go on Higer's high score, everyone watching, and you see like the gap that he's given himself to like get things passively, he's done it incredibly smart because you pick up like random bits of XP around everywhere for all of the little different things that you do. And if you have a clog mentality as well with all the loot drops that you get, you'll just pick up so many things over time. The only things you have left are like gatherers, but even then, it's just like, do you like the skill? Can you just go do that? And that's fine. So like I haven't actively skilled for a long time. Even like the last bingo I played in, I just did all Fasanis basically. I put down quite a few skilling things, but I ended up just like doing like 300 Fasanis during it. So yeah, I think I'm fully done with skilling. There's no reason for me to do it outside of bingo. And even then I'd prefer to just do some PVM stuff because that's a tile that isn't really usually done, right? I think like also just like to cap it because I'm rambling a bit. I got burned off skilling from getting to like capping thieving. And just kind of understanding like the waste of time that I've given myself over the next like 10-20 years of thieving updates. Also like yeah, like I have like 20. In my clog I've got like 20 blood shards, and they're all post 200 mil thieving. All of the Dragonstone armor crystal keys, they're all gonna have to be posted. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's no. So like, I'd rather not like push that boundary of like, it'll just be a waste of time in 10 years' time. I just rather not play like that. So yeah, I just haven't skilled, and I feel very happy about that.
We're doing Blood Furies for your regular no preps, right? Before saying.
Yeah.
I thought I did that too. I loved it. Blood
Furies, honestly, is makes the game so like the word is comfy. You get it's a very comfy game playing with Blood Fury, especially with I did every single one of my solo Cox KCs with Blood Fury, because I don't have any top items at all, so I don't have a sang for healing or whatever. And honestly, it's just so comfy because you can just then fully concentrate on doing 4-1, and you don't have to be like, do I need to keep with a brew here, and do I like lose DPS or whatever? It's just like it's just so calm and nice. And if you do like a TVG at the end, you just heal up from the G. You're just like, oh yes, perfect. I'm just going to arm, just like fully healed up with all the pickaxe damage. It's just like so nice. Like with Grotesque Guardians as well. It's just like, oh, it's when it procs and when it's just like you bring it for that particular use. It's just so beautiful. Yeah, I really love that item. Like even though it's like incredibly powerful, it's just so good. It's just so good.
I mentioned that I've been doing a little bit of top on the alt. So like with Torva, you can use Blood Fury, and I think you drop no max hits, or you drop like one max hit on one splat. I forget, but everybody does like low scale guns and Blood Fury. And holy shit, with Scythe, that it's like you're playing a different game. Just being full health constantly. It's
bro. I use for like the back when the Elite Diary was like 75 tobs before they lowered it, and I just stopped doing tob. I did like all of my top KC with Blood Fury. Like all my 416s, all my WDRs, and like all my other like pickups. I just did Blood Fury because it's just like, again, it just makes it so comfy, and like, you know, it's just very, very calm that way. Yeah, do really love that item, and did spend a lot of AFK time getting 20 of them, just so I could just have it for the next like couple of years or so. It's very good, very good. But yeah, literally no skilling goals. Zero, no reason to. Plus, I'm not really inclined to. I mean, if I like go through my bank right now, I've got like insane amounts of banked XP that I just see no reason for me to use. One, because it's not a bingo, so it's not really going towards anything other than just my own number go up, which caps eventually, which doesn't really inspire me compared to like clues or the hours in clog or whatever. And two, yeah, it's just zero time. There's just no need. So yeah, that's pretty much me. And
You're max, right? Do you do any skilling post max?
I don't think I've done a whole lot, honestly. I think anything that I've really done is like just either before I maxed, which would have been like post 99. Like I did quite a bit of. I think my first 99 was like, I'm pretty sure thieving, and I did arty nights to like 20 or 25 mil, and then I think I'm at like almost 36 mil, and I think most of that is just like from gym nights and fire watches and other random bullshit. Um, Farming, I have like 90 mil. Hunters just all from like birdhouses, I'm at like 18, and then like I don't know, everything else is just like kind of in the teens or the 20s. So I haven't really done a whole lot with post max skilling though. I've mainly just been doing the PVM and just chilling with the boys, writing with the boys side of things. So yeah.
What a big difference from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Huge amount.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I wonder what happened. Like for me, it was just like it makes so much more sense just to do PVM because it's so much more fun. But yeah, like skilling as like an archetype for how you see yourself in the game, kind of just got eaten up by clog. I think. Like even most of the skillers in Olympus now are just like glorified cloggers, to some extent. So yeah, it's
You're not wrong.
yeah. I'm not. Go on.
Wonder if Iron Man skilling was like getting a lot of draw or like a lot of like new players like coming in playing a lot, because for a really long time, like maybe even up till like maybe like 2 years ago or so, like if you wanted to skill seriously on your Iron Man, like you could get front page, right? Like it wasn't the hours weren't the crazy, so like you could get. You saw a lot of people like come up pretty quickly. Like the people who come to mind are like, I know obviously DK, and then who's that other Finnish guy? I think he's an Omnia. He's like top 10. I forget his name. If any of you guys know, I don't think he's super active. I don't see him in like Twitter or anything.
Are you
Lesby?
talking?
No,
not Lesby. What is?
No, he came up pretty recently. Sorry, I should have.
Oh, recently? Oh, I was thinking of like
the last couple of years, but he's like just people like that who kind of came up and just very quickly, like within. Yeah.
Well, I know in 20...
like half the time that other people have been playing, like we're passing them.
I think like 2018.
That's like out of reach now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'd say it's coming back. Like things have like the top is kind of coming up because everyone's kind of capping out now. But I feel like top 20 front page is still open. Like you can still go for it because I feel like again, like I've been saying, like skilling's kind of just fallen off as a thing that people generally do. From what I've seen, at least, like people are much more into clogging, especially in Olympus compared to like other areas. So, and then there's always been the big giant PVM side of those other things as well. And again, I think what it comes down to, what people realize is that if the game stops updating, then you got to be being geared towards completing the game in a way where you don't waste the XP part of things, and the skills are the only like long-term aspect of the game which caps out eventually and ends. But then beyond that point, you've like got the rest of the the game to go, you know. So yeah, maybe it's just kind of falling off from that point of view.
I guess I'm a little bit out of touch these days, quite a bit out of touch. But I feel like I've seen so many people like come in and get really involved, PVM, like start pushing like into endgame, but I haven't seen like new skillers really going hard on Iron Man. I'm sure some exist that I'm just not aware of, but
yeah,
haven't seen much at least on that side.
I think the only, well, like from my point of view anyway, who kind of climbed up like really quickly in the past like I think couple years was like 5th hardcore Iron Man lol.
Mm-hmm.
Him climbing up to like it, just like fucking shooting up there. I think even like, dude, his first year, if you look at his temple or CML, like whatever he started on, his first year I think was just like a Bill XP, just like straight like just on it. Yeah, like, and I'm like, bro, like it was like 200 mil hunter and I think ranged, and like he went on like defense and hit points and like did all this other shit and like just like caught like hella red chins, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I can't even remember exactly what all he did, but his fucking, yeah, I think he's
more people like that.
He's one of like, his account's fucking nuts. Shout out that guy. But yeah, I think other than him, I don't know if there are any other like big name skillers that have come up like recently anyway, who haven't been here for like a while now. I'm not too sure. They're not coming to my head right now, but
Do you have any other topics left, Grayson, on the list? I actually don't have it in front of me. I know you sent it to me yesterday.
let me see. Yeah, I think we had oh, how I guess we could talk to Juke first and then go back to Vatti, even though we had kind of a small discussion on it already. But how are you balancing your kind of RuneScape with RuneScape goals with like your real life goals?
I don't know if I have much left to say on this since I'm really not playing.
Yeah, I mean, you're still in law
I'm just
school?
doing all IRL shit, right? Yeah, I just wrapped up.
Gotcha.
Second of third year, so I'm working
Oh,
4
yeah.
days a week this summer, and then I'm studying for the patent bar,
I gotcha.
which I'll hopefully take like August, something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
for
I'm just
sure.
busy. It's been by far the busiest year of my life, school-wise. So
Yeah.
If you
really just like, oh, go ahead. Oh, we can hear you again.
hello,
Yeah,
yes,
That's
yes.
the first thing I heard.
No, that's right. If you weren't doing law, what would you be doing?
Oh God.
Hmm.
Realistically, I'd probably still be doing the job I was doing before I came back to school, which was I was doing engineering work at a PVC plant. That was mostly because I knew I was gonna do law, so that was like one path. I think if I wasn't doing that, I'd be teaching. I've always wanted to teach, but I don't know. I wasn't quite willing enough to do that.
Gotcha.
It's harder than what I chose to do.
How did you actually? I don't know if Vatti's trying to talk right now either, but
Oh yeah, sorry. If you're talking, we can't hear you. I've seen him talking. Yeah.
I'll just
No, I'm saying it's not like that. It's not a response. that I
here,
wanted to
let
hear.
me hang on. I'll try and dude, I don't know what Discord is doing. I had issues, he's having issues. I'll change this. Let me try and change where we are. Hold up. Holy
Are you
fuck,
switching
dude.
the server? Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
All right, yo.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, Discord is having a day today for us.
Welcome back to
my
the
God.
boys.
Welcome back for a third time.
Sponsored by Discord.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask, or Juke, kind of like a similar question, like why did you go into law, or why did you choose law? Like what intrigues you about law?
Oh man, I don't have a great answer. I'm not super
Oh.
passionate about it. I wanted to do something that was like on the softer side. So I was doing like I was doing engineering work, so it was just like simulation stuff most of the day, just like working by myself on the computer, just technical. So I don't know. I got very bored with that very quickly. I wanted to do something that was a little bit more like interacting with people, like on the softer side, maybe more writing, less numbers. So
I gotcha.
I don't know. I thought I'd be good at it, and I'm okay enough. Just
Oh,
good
yeah.
enough for me.
Yeah. Okay, can we hear Vatti?
Can I talk?
Are you
Am I
Oh, yeah,
talking?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I just never
Dude.
know. It's like, is it dead air or is it like, are they done? Did
Yeah.
Vatti fall asleep? Like,
Yeah.
what's going
What's up, dog? We can hear you
Yeah.
now. What's good?
No. It's funny. It's funny. I mean, like the reason why I ask is because as it's kind of been like implicitly said through all of our answers and the conversations we've been having, like the relationship with our lives in the game. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but just in general, from what I see across the community, is ever shifting and ever changing, and I think it's always important to consider like where a big significant chunk of our childhood, our lives, our free time, our like our like waste time and enjoyment kind of like sits in relation to all the other goals that we could be doing. I feel like as I get older and responsibilities kind of increase with like family and job and stuff, the opportunity cost of playing RuneScape versus doing other things gets higher and higher and higher, and it's much harder to like justify me spending time playing versus like, you know, making money or like playing with my child. And it's like, yeah, obviously I'd make that, you know, trade off 10 times out of 10 to like do the other things apart from RuneScape, in it, and then just kind of like fill in when I do have like the luxury to play like a couple of hours when I can. Really, like these things just kind of happen to you over time. It's not really something that you like, kind of decides. And yeah, from a perspective of being a bit older in the community and having a bit more responsibility on my plate, it's always interesting to see people. It's always interesting to see people who I was in that position like 3-4 years ago, kind of like having the same like thoughts and conversations and things. I basically stopped playing for 3 weeks to like work on getting a promotion. I got a promotion, and I'm like, okay, cool. I can back to RuneScape, back to playing while working at home.
Let's go.
But like, you know what I mean? It's like, these things will come up to the young whippersnappers who are listening right currently, and I think it's important to highlight as like a RuneScape work-life balance, as it were. That
I think
all these other things kind of come up.
I think for me, it almost mirrors. I mean, I fully agree with that. I've been quite similar. I think one thing I really noticed as well, though, is that I think like games in general, especially like relatively low effort ones like this, it was mostly like being facilitated by my other interests at the time, or like just how I would have been burning free time. So like when I was just like in college, like and I wanted to turn my brain off, I was just watching TV at my computer anyway, right? So it's just like, oh, like shit, I'll do this on the side. It's more fun than just watching TV. And like at the same time, like for a long time, like listening to new music, like that was something I'd sit at my computer and do anyway, right? So this was again something to do on the side, something to keep me a little bit more engaged. So not that it was entirely that, but I feel like I don't really watch much TV now. I've spent way less time looking for new music, and I think as a result, that's just been, I don't know, it's not like sneaking in the background the same way it was for a long time. It's like I feel like I had like it's not, I don't have that same intentionality of sitting down at the computer. It would have to be just for this, which is more of a barrier for me, which is weird to talk about. Like I feel like that shouldn't be the case, but it is.
Yeah, I feel you on that. It's understandable. Alright, so we have pretty much gone through all of the topics that we've like come up with anyway, or like before the ramble. Is there anything specifically, I suppose, you guys want to still kind of chat about, or pick one of our brains about? If there's anything like off the top of your head anyway.
I don't have anything right now. I'm looking in general. I think Vatti is experiencing mic issues again.
Oh God.
If you have a question, you can type it and I'll read it out loud and we can answer it.
Yeah. Dude, this
A
is
little
like
text to speech.
the most scuffed fucking shit ever right now, man.
Yeah, sound off in the comments if you listened all the way to this point, like through all the interruptions and
Yeah,
stuff.
dude, holy...
We can't hear you, Vatti, if you're talking.
No, we can't hear you. What the fuck?
Wait, okay, you don't have any questions, Vatti?
Cool, no worries. Nah. Alright,
He doesn't have any questions either. He wanted me to express to all of you, thank you for listening. I will
Yeah.
echo his sentiment. Thank you all for listening.
Yeah, thank you
Go to
guys.
sleep. I will probably do the same in not too long.
Yeah, I will do the same. I have to do laundry, and I also have to cook the rest of dinner, but, yeah, we'll probably talk to you guys later. Thank you for listening. Thank you for dealing with all of the disconnect, like, Discord, like, random chatting issues, but, you know, the boys had to come on and talk together for a little while, so we're fucking chilling.
As Vatti said in general, this was The Boys. Thank you for listening.
Thanks,
It was
guys.
episode 2, I guess, in the last 2 years. Episode 3 at some point.
Something like that, yeah. But yeah, we'll talk to you guys later, another time in the future. So yeah.
Bye.
Oh, there he
back.
is. Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Everybody.